we'll take that ride. I'm feeling okay this morning, and you know, we're on the road to paradise. Here we go, here we go. There's a city in my mind, come along and take that ride, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. And it's very far away, but it's growing day by day, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. Would you like to come along, and you can help me sing this song, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. There's a city in my mind, come along and take that ride, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. And it's very far away, but it's growing day by day, and it's alright, baby, it's alright. They could tell you what to do, but they'll make a fool of you, and it's alright, baby, it's alright.
Whoa.
You guys, I can't! Andrew didn't know we were, like, live. Okay? So, yeah. Andrew, did you really not know people could hear us?
No, I was just...
Oh my god, you dork! Oh my god. You're such a dork. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, wait. I'm trying to pull up OBS here. Oh, we're cooking tonight. Let me see. I cannot believe you sung like that.
Thanks,
I mean, it sounded amazing. Don't get me wrong. It was fucking beautiful. It was like, oh my god, swoon. It was fucking gorgeous.
Unmute and sing.
Yeah. Oh, did someone tell you that?
Yeah, Kami John.
Oh, Kami. Kami loves you. Kami loves you. He loves him some Andrew. Yeah, so we did a thing last weekend. That was fun. We did a thing.
This is the first show since that thing.
It is. Actually, we did 5 days of things. Which sounds like, you know.
Sounds very busy.
Very sweaty, very hot, very dirty things.
Very tiring.
Very tiring, very exhausting.
Even got burned a little.
We got burned. We even, there was smoke involved. There was screaming involved. Yeah, and there was a group of people involved. So by that, I mean, we marched and had rallies and protested Pelosi and dressed like zombies and marched on the hill. Yeah, we were a bunch of badasses. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then we fed the unhoused people. We fed about 80 unhoused people catfish and chicken and rolls and treats and drinks and water, and it was so amazing to like organize for hours every day for months with these people, and then all of a sudden here they are, and they're come from all across the country, and you're finally in person with them. It's pretty fucking awesome. So
not just Twitter accounts. Human beings.
Yeah, like it's like, oh my god, you do freaking exist. You really do. It's kind of amazing.
So now it's clarified, y'all are not bots. Y'all are not Russian bots. Y'all are people.
Well, they may have doppelgangers. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah, but it was amazing. I mean, we shared an Airbnb for 11 people. Andrew got a bunk bed, which was hilarious. But he didn't mind. He's skinny. He doesn't give a fuck. But I think they were probably for kids, because I heard they were quite rickety. But yeah, we may do. What?
Tommy John saying it reeked of cannabis outside the Airbnb, though. It was weird.
Oh, outside? Oh, I'm sorry, Tommy John. It wasn't like I had to share a room with you and told you how bad it stunk like pot. And it wasn't like I got in your car to go pick up Andrew from the airport and I was like, you need to fucking roll down the goddamn window. I think I was like the only person in that house besides Logan. Me and Logan were like the only people who were like, get that shit away from me. But nothing is more fun than Andrew when he is drunk. Oh my fucking God. He slurs and he's like, and it's fucking, he even at one point, I looked over at him. I was sitting next to him at the couch. I looked over and he had his hand like an Al Bundy. Oh my God. It was great. I think when we were at the house, which wasn't too much because we were so packed each day, when we were there, it was like drinking, eating pizza, being obnoxiously loud till like 4 a.m, and then getting up at 7 to do more actions. But that's how it should be, why not? We'll sleep when we're done.
We did eat at a bench on a curb.
Yeah, so we went to this place and I wanted to sit across from Andrew, so I sat on the bench, and it turns out the bench was literally connected to the curb. It was like this. I've never seen a fucking bench that's like this. But the bottom of the bench part where you sit, was connected to the curb. So when I went to sit on it, my ass was on the curb.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you doing this to someone who already has bruises all over because she keeps falling? And then I had to try and get up. And it wasn't fun. And then I was already smashed, so that didn't help. But yeah, I would say all in all, I mean, it was so awesome. And I got to meet you finally, and it was amazing. And you guys, I do admit, I was wrong. Andrew gives excellent hugs. I was wrong.
tried.
He is an excellent hugger. And, wait for it, he even said, I love you too, after I said I love you. It must have been the booze, but you know what? I was like, I'll fucking take it. I'll take it. Because I'm always like, I love you to like everyone, and I mean it, but not everybody is like that. So he finally said it back, and I was like, yes, this trip was fucking worth it. I recorded it. It's now my ringtone. But anyway, so that, lots of fun stuff, but there's pictures on my Twitter and all that fun stuff, and M for Alls. But now we have tons of fun, scary, upsetting, weird things to discuss about this week's news, and some things that, shocker, many people aren't talking about. Yeah. So what do we have first, Andrew?
So, one of the things, it sucks that like abortion, was ruled, scaled back in the Supreme Court. But, I'm just so glad that we have places like Google and Amazon really pushing for, abortion rights, women's rights, reproductive rights, and everything. Except when they don't. Except when they actually don't do that, other than just pure theatrics and speaking. So, pulling this up right now for all of you to see.
I sensed a little bit of sarcasm.
No sarcasm. Just, nope, sorry. This is the Google Doc. My bad. All right. So, here we go. Is it showing?
No.
Oh my gosh. All right, let me try this. So yeah, do you think, let's just see, drum roll, do you think Amazon really cares about abortion rights, Joy?
Well, let's say that, okay, so they refuse to give their associates health care. So I'm going to say that's kind of indicative of not giving a fuck.
Okay. What about
Although they probably sell a lot of t-shirts that say something like women's right to choose or something because they can profit off of them. Like, you know how Bernie would take them on all the time, but they sell tons of Bernie t-shirts. It's like they're all about, I was going to say communism, capitalism. I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean communism, capitalism. So yeah, they'll sell
Bezos. Yeah. Bezos is such a Marxist. That's his issue.
Totally.
So, more perfect union. Little headline here. Major corporations have donated over $6 million to anti-abortion groups, despite promises to defend access. And so, at least 24 giant corporations have financially contributed to anti-abortion Republican state campaign organizations in the 2022 election cycle, while publicly taking the stand that they would help their employees access abortion care, right? According to a review of IRS disclosures, this group of companies has donated more than $6 million since January 2021 to GOP organizations that explicitly and proudly seek to strip abortion rights from millions of people. In other words, these corporations are privately providing for their employees what they are complicit in denying to the public. Google is one of these companies, all right? And let's just go down a little bit. It's a long article. I can't read all of it, but companies whose policies diverge from state GOP donations. Okay, so Comcast is one of them. Shocker, right? That wonderful utility that many people are stuck having that gives you internet and cable and all that shit. Comcast announced it would cover travel costs for employees seeking abortion care, but Comcast has been one of the top 5 corporate donors to RAGA, Republican. RAGA stands for Republican Governors Association. Republicans Attorney Generals Association, right? So RAGA in the 2022 election cycle, giving the group more than $346,000 through the second quarter of this year. And then RAGA member Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch took the lead in communications around the legal effort to overturn Roe, filling an amicus brief last summer in the Dobbs case. And so, I would definitely suggest you read this article. Facebook's parent company, Meta Platforms, Zuckerberg, right? Progressive Zuckerberg. They announced that they would reimburse travel expenses, but it's donated $50,000 to the RSLC this election cycle. And so, AT&T, of course, AT&T, another organization that prides itself on being pro-LGBTQ rights, right? They also do that, even though they also donate to Republican candidates who are anti-LGBTQ, right?
Well, I mean, in fairness, they only say they are in June because it's Pride Month.
Yes. And
So,
but I don't
and
think
if it doesn't happen in June, then technically they're not hypocrites.
okay, so we're saying it's possible the donations might stop in June and then resume in July.
Certainly.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
Okay, AT&T.
We'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
We'll cut you some slack. Don't worry. Chevron, right? So literally, like, you know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Bank of America, Cigna, DraftKings, yeah. JP Morgan Chase, Kroger, MasterCard, Microsoft, Netflix, and Nike. And, you know, the beauty is that you can't boycott these companies because, you know, they own everything. So, you know, they just do whatever they please and there's no accountability. So, yeah. What do you say to that?
It's, you know, I'm so thankful that things like that are public, because there are, you know, with heroes like Assange being persecuted for sharing, you know, things that are, you know, any kind of, you know, whistleblowers as a whole are penalized. So
yeah,
these, you know, this kind of research on these things, that's all we have. So, I mean, shout out to those who are doing the research through these, because I've tried and the documents are so extensive and there's so much legalese, you know, so much terminology. You just don't even fucking know what it means. And so shout out to any, you know, writers who actually break it down. But yeah, I mean, the companies mentioned, they're literally companies who endorsed Hillary Clinton. So, I mean, Comcast, when I was at Occupy DNC for the 2016 convention, there were Comcast signs everywhere because they were the sponsor. AT&T also, Chevron. I mean, all of it's predictable, all of it. Because anyone who thinks that, and I highly doubt anyone here does, but anyone who thinks that any corporations have even the slightest bit of good, they are insane. They do not care at all. Everything is always about money. What's that?
In fairness, they were probably rooting for Tim Kaine, who was on.
Yeah. Like, oh, yeah. That's very true. That's very true. He would have been great right about now.
Yeah. Yeah. We need some Tim Kaine. Said no one ever.
You know, when I think about him, I always think about how he had an 18-year-old son in 2016 when people were voting. And someone asked him, oh, so it's the first time your son can vote. So that's exciting. He can vote for his dad. And he goes, well, he's feeling the burn. And I was like, I am going to pee my pants. That is the funniest fucking shit I've ever heard, that your own son isn't voting for you. And the fact that you're admitting it.
Well, it's like, wasn't Cory Booker, what's her name?
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, Rosario Dawson. She was like all in for Bernie, right?
I met her at a Bernie rally back in 2016. She came and spoke in Harrisburg. But if you notice, right after Cory dropped out in 2020, like it was maybe a week later, New York voted, and she's like, I proudly cast my vote for Bernie Sanders again and stuff like that. Like, it was like, she did not, I mean, she still came out and was like, I proudly voted for Bernie Sanders. I was like, that's, oh, well, Cory, sorry, not sorry. Go hang out with your fucking T-Bone.
Yeah.
You heard about T-Bone, right?
No, what T-Bone?
T-Bone's like a corn pop, but he's the OG. So Cory Booker, he used to tell this story about this dude named T-Bone. He was a bad dude. And Cory used to say, oh, he was in a gang and I helped reform him, and he's an upstanding citizen now. And, you know, he's really turned his life around and all this stuff. And he shared this story for years. And then people found out it was a blatant lie and there was no T-Bone. And he was caught on it and called out. And he was like, well, T-Bone was like a culmination of people I've met throughout the years. And I just, bitch, shut the fuck up. You lied. So, yeah, T-Bone and Corn Pop, they're right there.
Yeah, they're probably, you know, yeah. One thing I want to kind of say that I think is very interesting is that in many ways, places like Amazon and Google, they also probably love the fact that the court reversed the Roe versus Wade decision, because this also gives them more control over their employees, right? Sure. They can say, oh, we give you all this money. In order to do that, you better behave, right? Or you need to work for us, or else you do not have money in order to go to the other state or wherever you need to go in order to get the abortion. And so,
but then it could backfire, because if they don't have an abortion, they may have to quit because they need childcare or something like that. So
that's true.
I mean, that might backfire anyway. But yeah, no, you're totally right. I'm sure that is their thought process.
Yeah.
The more destitute their employees are, the better situation they are in, because you are expendable, but you are incredibly powerful to them. Right. They just will never let you know that.
And during a time where, you know, everybody's starting to go on strike, or maybe not everybody, but more people, right? We see all the Starbucks workers, right? We got a Starbucks. They're in day 22 of their strike. That's the biggest, that's the longest streak of striking in Starbucks history.
Yes.
Okay? So, and they know that. This is scary times for them. A little bit, you know? We're starting to shake them up. So the more control and the more they can hold over people will keep them from possibly going on strike, collectively bargaining with them, right? So this is a whole other this is how it all kind of ties in. It's funny because I remember, so, you know, during June, I remember on Facebook, someone posted and they were like, oh, you know, I'm so glad that, you know, these corporations are supporting, you know, Pride Month and everything. And, you know, I said, they don't care. It's profitable for them to do that at this point. They're just, you know, it's just an advertisement. And I think I said, I was like, why are they having all these corporations at Pride marches, right? And someone was like, that's not fair. They're, you know, back in like the 70s and 80s, they mentioned AT&T and another corporation that were like visibly like supportive of them. And they were like, and they really helped, you know, change minds and stuff. And all I did was I just like screenshot an article saying that AT&T regularly contributes to anti-LGBTQ politicians. No response.
They never will. You'll either get no response or blocked every single time. Look, you know, and that's one of the things I say about the Women's March. Any fucking organization or corporation, I should say, who ever wanted to, well, first of all, none of them would ever want to sponsor M for All, ever. Because why would they? Why? We're 100% volunteer, hardcore, arrest us if you want. We don't give a fuck. Like, why would they want to sponsor us? But even if they did, we would tell them to eat a bag of dicks. Like, that's like Women's March. They're like, look at us with our pussy hats. We're so amazing. We're so grassroots. But then they have corporate sponsors and they sell like their fucking, you know, coffee mugs and stuff like that. And they have like merch tents and, you know, and all this shit. It's like you are corporatizing something that is a parade. That is not a march. So it's the same thing with this shit. Oh, cool. You really think that they're like Yay, gay pride. Well, how come the only time you ever see anything is June? If you're gay pride, make that your profile picture. Keep it up all year. Make videos of some of your employees who are LGBTQ plus and be like, we have amazing employees and this is one of them and we support them and blah, blah, blah. They don't do shit. So people fall for that shit all the time. Like, oh my God, it's rainbow ketchup. Oh my God, this is amazing. It's
rainbow ketchup.
So pathetic. Yeah, it's so fucking pathetic.
I don't know what rainbow ketchup. If like the whole thing was right, like wouldn't that be
I don't
like?
know. I just made it up. I was thinking that the green ketchup they did that one year. It was so gross.
Oh, like St. Patrick's Day ketchup.
I think it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like goo because the kids like to turn them on to ketchup more. It was green.
I didn't realize kids don't like ketchup now. The heck?
I don't know if it still exists, but it was like a bright green ketchup.
Interesting. I didn't realize ketchup was something that needed to like catch on. I used to love ketchup when I was a kid. I mean, I still like ketchup, but you know, that was like my thing.
I know, like, why do you need to like gear it towards kids? But I don't know. Yeah. I don't find that very appetizing.
Gen Z. They're Gen Z and them hating ketchup. What are they?
Zoomers. Damn Zoomers.
Killing the ketchup industry. All right. So anyway, so our next topic, do you want to talk about, I know how you love talking about Amy and that she, you know, campaigns in blizzards and is such a badass. So.
Well, this is the thing. I hate to tell the same joke over and over, just like Amy. But the thing is, I'm never going to get tired of making fun of her being in a blizzard or not being in a blizzard. I'm just telling you that now. I will never not think that shit is fucking hilarious. So every time she posts anything, I just go on and I'm like, whatever, you're not in a blizzard saying this. It doesn't matter. So I'm a troll when it comes to Amy. I admit it.
If you're not saying it in a blizzard, you never said it. It doesn't
exactly.
count.
It means nothing, Amy. Nothing. And you always sound like you're gonna cry. But here, well, yeah, I guess we can play this video. Look, she looks like she's going to cry too, or she's pooping. I can't tell.
Maybe both. You can do both.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Jonathan, we're literally, I would guess, 1-2 hours away. We have very few amendments left, something like 8 of them, of course, mostly all Republican amendments. Senator Cruz is still hanging in there with all kinds of lovely things. But what the amazing story is that our caucus has stuck together, defeated these amendments with a no margin. There's 50 of us, and vote after vote after vote. We have done this with no sleep, 11 hours straight. Why? Because we know this bill is finally going to do something about climate change, bring greenhouse gases down 40% by 2030. Finally, my provision, my law bill that I've been working on forever to lift the ban on negotiating less expensive drugs under Medicare. And then, as the name of the bill says, bring inflation down by $305 billion in deficit reduction. And I guess our colleagues are going to vote against that. Makes no sense to me.
Okay, so there's a bunch of issues wrong with that. Number one, there is no deficit. Read Stephanie Kelton's book. Also, when it comes to climate change, and you're talking about a 40% reduction in, I believe, didn't she say gases?
I think so.
By 2030, okay? So that's 8 years away. That is incrementalism. And that is one of the bajillion of aspects in climate change. What are we doing now? We are giving infinite amounts of money to the MIC, who is the biggest contributor to climate change. The biggest issue is what the MIC does, how it pollutes our universe entirely, our Earth. And, you know, as far as the Medicare drugs, okay, so a few things. Number one, why is it only Medicare drugs being lowered? Because right there, you cut people at 65 and older or disabled. That is great. But number one, why is it only Medicare people? Number two, when are we going to find out a list of these drugs? They don't say all. Are they ones that are generic? Are they ones that are particular to certain diagnosis? Are they, what is the qualification? Also, you know, as far as, you know, I don't know how many of you guys remember Martin Scarelli, but he's who I thought of when they were talking about this bill. And what he did was he literally upped the price of HIV medication to millions, okay, overnight. So that all of a sudden people couldn't afford it. Because that's the kind of power people in the pharmaceutical industry have. So what happens is people like Pfizer and Eli Lilly and stuff, they're watching yesterday, and I can guarantee you, no, I haven't seen this. I don't need to. I can guarantee you they are sitting in their boardrooms right now, raising every fucking medication they have, because then when this bill, you know, would be passed, it has to go through House. But if it would be passed and it says these need to be lowered, they will have already raised the prices of what they are now. So the American people are going to be like, oh, look, it's discounted. No, it's not. It was $20 before this bill went in, and now they're cutting it down to $30. That's how this shit works. When you're not specific in these bills and you are not saying it will be all drugs, and there is a cap at this moment, so don't even try to raise it and then say discount that. You know, there's people are praising these breadcrumbs, and they need to look deeper, because this is not a fucking victory at all. This is, election is coming up, and read Amy Klobuchar's Twitter. Holy fuck. I've never seen someone so proud of themselves in my entire life. Every fucking tweet is, we were there 13 hours, just as tired as we were. We didn't sleep, and we just kept fighting, and blah, 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 and we deserve a pat on the back. And just nonstop for the past 2 fucking days. It's like, listen, you get paid $176,000 a fucking year to work a few days a year, and people like us are fucking out there marching in 95-degree heat for that length of time for 5 fucking days, and we do it for free. You don't get props for doing something you should do anyway. That's the thing people need to understand. I'm not giving anyone fucking credit for doing something they should do. Like, oh, you're saying you tried to lower costs on Medicare drugs? Cool, you should anyway. I'm not praising your ass for that shit. I'm going to call you out, and I'm going to tell you it's not as good as you're making it out to be, and I'll guarantee that. What do you think, Andrew?
Well, I just love how in one of her tweets, she talks about how she's like, oh, this is amazing that finally Medicare can now go back to negotiating prices with, drug companies and pharmaceuticals. And it's like, oh, okay, so now you're praising Medicare for doing that or advocating for Medicare to do that, but you just had like a whole campaign where you went out of your way to trash Medicare for all, right? So
Correct.
where it sounds like you really are for Medicare for this. So where does the line get drawn to be like, oh no, this is too much Medicare, right? Like, we're okay if it's a little, like it's just absurd, right? And so I think, and one of the things too that, and this goes to one of the things that you sent over as well. So Branko, I don't know if I'm going to say his name right. Marcetic is an excellent analysis of the bill's pluses and minuses for Jacobin, calling these provisions a decade-long carbon bomb, and notes that some analysts have a deranged madness and a climate suicide pact, along with because they clump some of these things together, along with the permitting reform that Joe Manchin wants, which is the tear of the House Natural Resources Committee, calling a euphemism for gutting our most foundational environment and public health protections, like the National Environmental Policy Act. The bill may end up substantially increasing American fossil fuel production. It also doesn't include many new rules or restrictions for industry, and there's no emissions reduction mandates that would simply require utilities or other businesses to slash carbon pollution. And so, yeah, it sounds like there's just a lot of shit in these bills that are happening, and criticize Bernie a lot for not fighting hard, but he was the only one who raised visible objections to it, tried to get some amendments to go, and literally nobody voted for them, right? And I think that just, shows who the Democrats really are, right? And that's
of course, anytime Bernie's trending, I'm like, fuck, what are the shit libs pissed at now? Anytime, like, you just know. So I'm like, okay, wait, they're mad he was fighting for more? Like, he was fighting to get people more, and you're mad. Privilege. Fucking privilege. And, that's why people like fucking Amy Klobuchar are like, oh my God, we worked so hard for 13 hours. Yeah, but you didn't fucking stand beside the person who was trying to get even more. That's the problem. He was named the Amendment King decades ago because that's what he does. He does amendments for everything, but he can't do it alone. These fuckers have to be like, yeah, Bernie, you're right. They do deserve hearing and eye care and dental. That's the kind of shit he wanted to add. But no, we're going to praise ourselves for doing the breadcrumbs. That's awesome. And then blame everything on Manchin and Sinema, as always.
Well, in this case, I mean, the type of vitriol I've been seeing to Bernie on Twitter has been much more than the energy that they've even spent on Manchin and Sinema.
Oh, of course.
Sure, they are rotating villains, right? I'm definitely not going to say that Manchin and Sinema are like the problem with the Democratic Party. That's not. But the fact, it just shows where their priorities are. And I think, what is frustrating is that Bernie obviously does have his problems, but the narrative is always that he is, whenever he does something that is left that we want or something of what we would like, then the prevailing narrative is, oh, he goes too far. And that is so harmful to so many people because it trains everyone's minds to have the mentality of like, you can't expect much from the government, right?
There is literally no poor person who will ever say he's going too far. Never. Not possible. The only people who say you're pushing too hard, you're going too far, this is going too fast, are people who can afford to wait. Privilege.
Yeah. No, for sure. So, yeah, just a reminder as to why I'm not part of the Democratic Party at all. Not enrolled.
People need to stop saying Democratic.
What should we call
them? It's not Democratic. Anything but. I just call them the Dems.
The Dems. The shit lib party. There we go.
The Demo rats.
The Demo pigs.
Oh my God. That doesn't rhyme, but it's so funny. The Demo dicks. It reminds me of like a fucking demolition derby with like
Mm.
a bunch of bag of dicks, like a demo dicks. I don't know. It's
Oh,
been
man.
a week since we did our show, so my brain is kind of,
Yeah.
making up for lost time of our immature, perverse humor.
All right. Well, from one Senate budget chair person to the other, let's go to Lindsey Graham now, who has some things to say about gay marriage. Because I think, states' rights. We got to preserve states' rights. Because when has that ever gone wrong in the
State
history
by
of this
state,
country?
people. State by state.
State by state. All right. Well, let's hear what Lindsey Graham has to say regarding his thoughts on gay rights.
Gay marriage, at least that is what Rob Portman wants. He's trying to get enough votes to codify same-sex marriage because Justice Clarence Thomas suggested that it might be in jeopardy. You said 2 weeks ago that the state-by-state approach is the best way to go. So I just want to be clear about your position. Are you saying that the 2015 Supreme Court decision that made same-sex marriage the law of the land nationally should be overturned?
No, I am saying that I don't think it's going to be overturned.
Or should it be?
Well, that'd be up to the court. The reasoning, I think, could be attacked. But the point I'm trying to make is I've been consistent. I think states should decide the issue of marriage and states should decide the issue of abortion. I have respect for South Carolina. South Carolina voters here, I trust, to define marriage and to deal with the issue of abortion, not 9 people on the court. That's my view.
How far down how wide should that go? How many more issues should that
Well,
go
we're
to? For
talking
example, Loving versus Virginia that allowed interracial marriage. That shouldn't be touched.
No, here's the point. We're talking about things that are not happening because you don't want to talk about inflation. You don't want to talk about crime. This is all politics, my friends. Instead of trying to solve problems like unstable people having guns, we're talking about constitutional decisions that are still in effect. But if you're going to ask me to have the federal government take over defining marriage, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
So again, I mean, state by state, always the greatest route to go. All states are going to, be totally for the people. It's, healthcare, state by state, abortion, state by state, gay marriage, state by state. What could go wrong?
I mean, it's just so clear as he's talking that he is very calculated with his words, right? He doesn't want to alienate his far-right Christian base, his evangelical base. So he resorts to the state-by-state thing, which since, going back to the Civil War, right, has always been either a whistleblow or a straight-up just, shout from the rooftop message of let's keep things as is and do states' rights so that you don't impinge upon right to own property, aka enslaved people. So, I mean, that's really what he's doing. He can't necessarily come out and say, I'm for taking away gay marriage because he knows that gay marriage is very popular now. But go back even 5-6 years ago, he was very against gay marriage. They all were. And so that's just always a tactic they use. And he tries to say, he's like, well, it's up to the courts, well, okay. Yeah. The Federalist Society courts, right? Who knows what they're going to do that are so it's just a matter of, purposely just kind of trying to be neutral, but we all know where he really stands with this issue. Yeah.
Right. And, the thing is, a lot of people for years have suspected Lindsey is LGBTQ plus himself because now I don't know this for a fact still, but I want to say 3 years ago, I read an article that stated that he was the only elected official in the state or the Senate or House who had never been married. So that's very rare for someone, his age to have never been married. Does that mean he's LGBTQ? No, but it's been kind of a theory for like years and years. Unfortunately, some people do make jokes to the point that it is really fucking homophobic. That like some of the memes I see on Twitter and sometimes like like Lady Lindsay and stuff will trend, things like that. But I do think it's very feasible that he is one of those, pastors who condemns, gay and then has sex with men on the down low, one of those type things. Certainly feasible.
So interestingly enough, Tim Scott, who is also a Republican senator in South Carolina, is also not married. So South Carolina has 2 bachelor men.
Was he ever married?
I don't know. Let's see. Tim Scott, was he ever married? Let's see what happens.
No, we're not doing a dating service if you're just joining. I mean, I find him attractive. So, no, I have no idea what he looks like.
This is interesting. So this is on the Focus News, right? So I don't know too much about this site. But Tim Scott is not married, and there's no evidence to say he's currently dating. Speaking to Politico, Tim Scott said he'd like to settle down and that he's always wanted to have 6 kids of his own.
How old is he?
He was born in 1965, so can't do quick math. What?
He's not old then.
I mean,
Look,
6 kids though?
I'm 43. Well, maybe his wife is a babe who's like 25.
Well, he doesn't have a wife, so.
No, but he does in his head.
All right, so maybe he'll get a 25-year-old.
He's still going to buy her. She is being made right now.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So maybe down the road, he'll settle down with a 25-year-old. He can have 6 kids, and, there'll be a happy family in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Rooting for you, Tim. And Cory Booker is dating Rosario, but he's never.
He's pretty young though. I think he's my age. I think like 43.
Let's see. How old is Cory Booker? Feel free to put in the chats too. How old Cory Booker is? 53 years old. He's a decade older than you. Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's got to be the penis head. Makes them look younger.
Anyway, so let's start to talk about what should we talk about next? Let's go to Brittany Griner. Give me one second.
So I'm sure everyone probably knows who this is, but a decision was made last Thursday. This is a professional basketball player who went to Russia and had a couple of e-cigarettes with cannabis in them, and got stopped at the airport and arrested. And they found her guilty and sentenced her to 9 years in prison in Russia for a couple e-cigs, which she had a prescription for, but the prescription was for United States, and that doesn't equivocate with Russian law.
Yeah.
So there's a debate. Well, she should have researched it first. You're going to another country and they're strict and you don't know their policies. True. But here's the real interesting part. Biden is telling Russia he will trade a Russian arms dealer for Brittany. So to think about the magnitude of, here's a few e-cigs and I'm going to trade her for a mass arms dealer. That's what Biden is willing to give them. That's just fucking bananas. That is bananas.
I think it's just the irony too, where Biden, who so many people in the United States are in prison because of Biden, right? Because of his and now he's having to. It's almost like karma on his end, because now he has to kind of say like, hey, and now you're for because here's the thing, right? Everything Russia does is bad in their eyes, right? Now this is bad, right? She should not be in jail, I don't think, right? At all, right? This is
Sure.
and their cannabis policies are also bullshit. Like, holy shit, Russia. Jesus fucking Christ. But like now Biden has to reconcile and be like, okay, if I condemn Russia's drug policies, then also has to condemn himself. So yes, intermediary fossil. He wrote the crime bill. He wrote the damn bill.
Yep.
So
I guess, that's a great point, Andrew. So it's like, okay, so if you're willing to trade a fucking Russian arms dealer for this girl who literally just had a couple e-cigs, what are you willing to do to let out the bajillions of Black and brown people in prison who have been locked up by your racist ass? Like, if it's wrong in Russia, it's wrong here.
Yeah, exactly. So it's sort of like one of those awkward times where they have to kind of deal with their American exceptionalism.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
yeah.
A foreign entity, the Russians, who are our main competition, just took one of our people, even though we do the exact same.
That is what it's about. If it were another country, he wouldn't care. But Russia's the bad guy right now.
Right.
Look at Russia. They're so mean. They are. What they're doing to this girl is absolutely absurd and unjust. But they're using it to further the Russia.
Yeah. Yeah. The narrative it's a very, very interesting narrative that they have to kind of take there. So, yeah. But yeah, I really hope she can be released, because I think they were saying up to 10 years it could possibly be in Russia. That's fucked up.
And here's the thing. This is another way. This is very different than it is in America. When you plead guilty, most of the time in America, you can then say, I will plead guilty to a lesser sentence. Well, she was facing 10 years and they gave her 9, even though she pleaded guilty. They did not take it down. They should. If it were like, our injustice system is pathetic, but I thought it was very interesting that they don't even do that. She says, I admit I fucked up. I did what they are accusing me of, and I take full responsibility. Now, in our country, typically that'll take a few years off. But, like, not with them. They're like, fuck you. You still get 9 years.
Yep. Yeah. So Biden's still locking up for weed. Yeah, well, he can't even he fires his staff who have a history of smoking weed. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come
It's like,
on.
dude, maybe you need some weed because your fucking brain is melting.
Yeah, it honestly might help a little bit. Might
Yeah.
help. He probably does do some weed secretly. I mean, come on. Look at him.
He does something.
He definitely does something. Definitely does something. All right. So native courts settling cases outside the justice system. So, Joy, you want me to read a little bit of this, or?
Yeah, I just find it. I always try to touch on indigenous peoples, because they just don't get that much attention, quite frankly. And I think this is very fascinating what they are doing just to try and get a fairer, just democracy.
Yeah, so Robert Jones was on edge, a Native American teen in a reservation border town courtroom. He faced felony assault charges in Rapid City, South Dakota, home to a criminal justice system stubbornly plagued by racial disparities. Nearly all of the police, prosecutors, judges, and jailers are white, and more than half of the accused and incarcerated are Native American. Despite comprising a fraction of the city's population. When you're in the Western courts, you feel like you are alone, that you don't have anyone with you, said Jones, a citizen of the Oglala Lakota Nation. That's why people get so scared, feeling that something bad is going to happen. But Jones, that sounds very familiar, but Jones, 19, was lucky. His file landed with Pennington County prosecutors as they were cementing a groundbreaking partnership with a group of Lakota elders to divert some cases into the new Oyate Court, or People's Court, which employs a process based on Native culture and Aboriginal peacemaking principles that stress healing over punishment. The effort is part of a wave of initiatives across the nation in indigenous communities seeking to reclaim Native heritage and craft homegrown, culturally based solutions to the problems of poverty and the host of traumas it nurtures that have defined life for American Indians since they were forced to abandon their ancestral lands and lifeways for urban or reservation life. In Rapid City, those efforts include a new elementary school Lakota immersion language program and a grassroots volunteer effort to build an urban Indian center. Jones's case was turned over to the elders. When people get in trouble, just locking them up won't help. A Cheyenne River citizen who sits on the circle of elders. With Oyate Court, we look deeper into trying to heal them. We get to ask the questions that courts don't ask. Get to the root of the problem. So, yeah, there's more here. I don't know how far you want me to go, but
no, that's good. Can you drop the link in the comments?
Absolutely.
I just think it's beautiful that they're doing this, but it's also fucking racist and xenophobic that they have to. Like, this is indigenous peoples experience racism so much, and it gets ignored. I mean, look at the, MIMW, the missing and murdered indigenous women. I mean, thousands go missing every single year and are never talked about, ever, and never even investigated. And we see this, and it's pretty amazing that, well, quite frankly, the one thing I was kind of curious about was legally how they could do this. And it doesn't really get into that, but I guess it's kind of more so they know someone did something, so they are going to put them on trial through their process. But I just think it's a teachable moment then, and it's also a way to invoke things that they believe to try and correct certain paths that will probably not be correctable if they're thrown in prison.
Right. Yeah. for sure. Yeah, they should just do it all that system all throughout the United States. That'd
For
be
real.
good. Just listen to them. Oh, all right. So I think that's all of our topics for tonight, right?
Oh, is
Well,
it?
I think yeah.
All right.
All right. But yeah, was gonna show that photo that you wanted me to show. You want me to show that now?
Photo. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So.
Dun, 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 dun.
So this just turned into Superman. Cool. All right. So I don't want to edit my name. What the heck? StreamYard. Just let me add it to the stream. There it is. Cool. So.
Yeah. Notice what's in the bottom right-hand corner. Oh, yes, that is true. We have decided, I was at Real Progressives. I just had my 5-year anniversary last week of doing a show, and I was with Real Progressives over 3 years, and I will be keeping this channel. So I will still have my autonomy. I will still be doing my own shows. However, myself and Andrew will be doing Postmortem Breakdown on Real Progress and Action, which is the subsidiary of Real Progressives, because 501c3, 501c4, one can talk about politics, one can't. So this is like a break off of it. But yeah, so that's where you guys are going to watch that. I told them we'll do it exclusively over there. So again, you're going to find me still here for 6 days a week, any other 6 days or what have you. But then 9:30 p.m. Eastern, you're going to find Postmortem Breakdown at RPIA. What's that say? You're muted.
Says, welcome back. You down with modern monetary theory, MMT. That's the, yeah.
We down with MMT. Yeah, you know me. That's what's up. Of course. I mean, do you think Steve would have even talked to me if I wasn't? He'd be like, no. No, it was great to catch up with Steve. At the M for All March in DC. He was one of our speakers and I was MC. So we got to catch up a little. And we live a few miles from each other, but he's, very busy as a dad and I'm always busy as well. So it was great to catch up. But yeah, so I'll be back on Mondays and Andrew will be joining me. So, this was our last show on my channel as far as Postmortem Breakdown. And next week, we do not have a show because I'll be seeing Rage Against the Machine and Run the Jewels. And Killer Mike retweeted me yesterday. He quote tweeted me. And I almost peed my pants. So yeah, we will be starting officially Postmortem Breakdown Monday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Real Progress in Action, August 22nd, which is 2 weeks from tonight. So there is our beautiful little meme by Jules, and it's going to be the same kind of show. We're going to still talk about the same kind of things, still have, the silly sense of humor, and still bring you things other people aren't talking about. It's just going to be on a new channel and hopefully, kind of expose my viewers to a different kind of thing and their viewers to a different kind of thing. And just kind of, all join together. So definitely, tonight, smash the like button and subscribe. But also go to Real Progress in Action and smash that subscribe button, because it's not just my show. There's a few other good shows on there as well. So, yay.
Heck yeah.
So we will see you the 22nd.
Yeah. See you the 22nd.
But don't forget, my other shows are still going to be here. It's just this one. Because I was like, I can't handle Andrew anymore, so I just need to take him somewhere else. You guys take him. It's a boy. Keep him. Just kidding. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, we love you much. And we hope that you will all come over and join us there as well. Because we love seeing your comments, and we love seeing the regulars and reading what you guys have to say, and all that fun stuff. So we hope you will continue to join us. So thanks, guys. Much love.